So I'm going to just quickly share what I learned setting up GitHub OAuth for imports today, because I didn't even know that we had that configured already, and it was a lovely surprise to see that we do. So I'm going to show you on production, and then I'm going to show you how I set it up locally. So this is GitLab.com. I'm importing a new GitHub project. And you can click authenticate. So I've always used a personal access token in the past. I just didn't even see this button or this button. They also do the same thing, interestingly, but whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna click this button. It's gonna say authorize GitLab.com. It's asking for the repo scope and then the personal user data scope. So I'm gonna authorize, and it takes me back here, and then it pulls in all my stuff. So this is OAuth. Interestingly, you can't log into GitLab with GitHub. We have that disabled. I figured out how we disabled that, so I'm going to show you that. My little notes are on the left here. So yeah, the first thing to do if you want to set this up locally is set up an OAuth app in GitHub. You can look at our docs for the GitHub OAuth integration to do that. All right, here are those docs. So you'll want to set this up. If you're using GDK, it'll be in config GDK YAML. The main difference is that the user email scope is what you need if you're just trying to let people log in with GitHub, but we actually want to pull their repo information for imports. So I put a note here. You're going to want to add the repo and read org scopes to this line when you set it up locally. Okay, and the next thing is that usually when you set up any OAuth method, it automatically is added as a way of logging in on the sign up page, but you don't want that locally. This doesn't really matter for local development, but it was just interesting to me. I learned that we have this setting. What is it called? It is at the doc page. Disabled OAuth sign in sources. So it's like you configure GitHub OAuth, but then you disable it. So the OAuth app is available to use, but you can't actually log in with it. And you can actually just set this via the UI pretty easily. You go into application settings general as an admin, and then you uncheck GitHub as a login option. So GitHub will automatically be shown if you've already configured GitHub using the step here. And then you kind of uncheck that box. And so the configuration is still there, but it's just not shown as a button on the login page. Okay, so once you've done that, then you go here. This is my GDK, and you click on GitHub to import a new project. Oh shoot, I already have OAuth here. Let me just revoke that really quick and show you. Revoke that. If I refresh this, it's going to give an authentication error. Now authenticate. And so you'll see that my GitHub import OAuth for GDK app is asking for these two scopes, which is because that's how I configured it in my config GitLab YAML file. So I'm going to authorize, and then it lets me pull everything in. So if we think the current OAuth app that's used for imports on GitLab.com is this one. There's not a lot of information here. I don't have any special access to this app. This is just what an end user sees if they've ever OAuth'd with our GitLab.com import, GitHub import config. So this may or may not be an enterprise, what is the term? An enterprise owned app or whatever. It might just be a regular OAuth app, in which case we could replace the credentials for this on production with the OAuth credentials for a different app, and that should be fine. I guess the only downside is if there are any in progress imports going on for GitHub, changing out these credentials may break those. No, it shouldn't actually, because well, Yeah, it probably would. Sorry, I'm like thinking about this in real time. If we updated the credentials while an active import is happening, the existing access tokens would still be valid. But I think that I would guess that we use the client ID to refresh those tokens. So anyway, something to look into, whether changing these credentials out would break it. But changing out the credentials, ignoring all the stuff about breaking existing ongoing imports, would be relatively easy. You would just need to make a change request to update those production credentials so that the OAuth ID and secret are different. So that's all. I'm going to share the contents of this note in Slack. Bye.